Business Focus with Kudzi Sharara on the Champions League Breakfast.
Good morning and welcome to Business Focus right here on Capi Talk 100.4 FM, Harare's Heartbeat. Good morning to you, Kudzi. How are you doing today?
Good morning, Tinashe. Good morning, Patsani. And good morning, everyone.
Great. Thank you so much, Kudzi. A lot is happening in the world of business. Let's begin on a Thursday with the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange trading update.
Thank you, Tinashe. So, it seems like the bulls are on steroids because the gains that are recording on the SADC phenomenal. So the all share index up by 6.67%. If you have been following closely, we have never announced that kind of a daily gain. 6.67% on the top 10 index, and then 6.87% on the top 10 index rather, and then the all share index up by 6.07, and the top riser for the day was ZB Financial Holdings, putting on 15%. That's the maximum the counter can go up by on any given day. And then you also have TSL up by 14.99%. Then Tanganda up by 14.99% as well. Delta putting on 12.68%. Mashonaland Holdings adding 12.5%. There were only two companies that recorded losses, and that's First Mutual Properties, which was down by 5.28%, and then Wheeldale also easing by 1.16%. So just two. And then looking at the funds that were invested, CBZ got the bulk of the funds, about 804,000 ZIG. Delta getting 387,000 ZIG, Econet 377,000 ZIG, EcoCash also 158,000 ZIG, and OK Zimbabwe 140,000 ZIG. It shows you that there isn't much in terms of volumes that are trading there. Probably there are a few sellers. There are a few people who are willing to sell their shares at the moment. So it's what we call a seller's market. So when a market is a seller's market, it means the sellers are the ones that are dictating the prices, and I think this is a seller's market because it continues to go up, and sellers are not willing to let go their shares, even though they have recorded phenomenal gains so far in the year. Because in fact, so far since April, when ZIG was introduced, if you get an 85% gain like in Delta there, or maybe let's look at the top risers, ZB, which is now the leading counter on the ZSC with a 189% gain. What we are basically saying is that if you had invested 100 ZIG, or if you had invested 100 ZIG, you now have something like 389 ZIG there. And then Fidelity Life putting on 177%, Aftis 172%, Nampec 166%, CBZ 152%. So those are phenomenal gains, and given that inflation has remained stable, it was month on month, it was 0.0% in the month of June, and so it means these are real gains. Even if you had converted your US dollar, your 100 US dollar, and you had converted it into ZIG for you to be able to buy shares on the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange. If you sell your shares today and you convert your your ZIG into US dollars again, if you had invested $100, say for example in ZB Financial Holdings, you now have $289. That's significant. And whether this is sustainable, your guess is as good as mine. I don't know whether this is sustainable, but for now it looks like it is. It still has. For now, it looks like it still has some leg room. It can still go higher, given that yesterday's gains were very strong, more than 6% gains there. So even if today, if it slows down, it's unlikely to be turning negative. So and even if you look at the volumes that traded, it shows that buyers are still looking for shares, and very few sellers are still willing to sell. And the question that always comes from people is, now, can I also buy my shares? How can I buy shares? Most people ask about buying or trading into shares when there is a bull run, which for me, yes, shares can be bought any day, but the good time to be buying into shares is when everybody is not looking at them and is actually looking at getting out of the stocks. But for as long as you know now, yes, people are leaving. You also then need to find out why are people not interested in shares. Because no so but if you know the companies that are there, you know their fundamentals, you know how they are performing, you know their products in the market, you know about their management, then when the market is quiet, that's when you get in. And then when it's now rallying like this, you are now actually looking at options to say, should I hold? Should I sell? I know a friend of mine 2 weeks ago, he was asking me to say, where is the Econet share price? And I was like, okay, it's at this price. I think at that time it was at 12 cents. And he was saying, should I sell? And I said, I don't know. It's your decision. So yesterday he was asking me to say again, where is the Econet share price? And I said, in US dollar terms, it's now at, if you're using the official exchange rate, it's now at about 17 cents. And using the alternative rate, it's about, the alternative rate is 17 cents. Official exchange rate is about 24 US cents. So imagine if he had sold at 12 cents. Now it's at 24 cents.
Double.
It just doubled. Just in 2 weeks, it has doubled. So I don't know whether I think if you become greedy, sometimes you become greedy and saying, let me hold, and then sell. Maybe it will continue to go up, and then all of a sudden it starts turning, and you fail to sell at a good price. So I don't know whether it also depends on whether you're a long-term investor or a short-term investor. If you're a short-term investor or a trader, obviously you're looking at this, you actually love volatility in the market. You want it to go up, and then you also want it to go down so that you can buy. You want it to go up so that you can sell. So you love that volatility on the market. But if you're a long-term investor, you're not even bothered much about what's happening on the stock market for as long as unless you know that whatever gains that have been recorded are sustainable. That's when you can say, look, I'm doing my investments are doing great. Otherwise, you're not really moved, especially your pension funds. They want long-term, sustainable long-term gains, and I'm not sure whether these are sustainable long-term gains that we are reporting on, that have been reported on the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange. But it's good times for those who are playing the game.
But as we look at the VFX, how is the VFX also trading? We've seen the bulls raging at the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange. VFX, what am I saying?
VFX is not doing so well. It's relatively stable, and I understand why. So the VFX yesterday, it was down by 0.7%. So far in the year, it has gained by just 3.99%. Meaning on average, if you had put $100, because remember the VFX trade in US dollars. So on average, if you had put $100 onto the VFX, your money will be like $103.99. So not much movement there. And let me just look at the counters that are listed there and how they performed yesterday. So you've got your Axia. Axia is the owners of TV Sales and Home, and also Transev, and it was down by a massive 19.23%. I'm not sure why it dropped by so much, 19.23% yesterday. Because if you look at the trading update that they gave, I was actually surprised because they sell, for example, especially if in TV Sales and Home, they sell luxury products, but the volumes are actually going up, which means that as a business, it's probably doing well. And if you look at Transev, it's in the motor spare industry spares. And given the potholes and everything else that we see on our roads, I think those who do in car parts, they should be doing well, unless they are losing out to competition. So that's Axia there. Another one, First Capital Bank, also down by a massive 10.96%. Again, you wonder what's really happening there on the VFX. And then also Padenga and Citgo International also easing by less than 1% though. And then on the upside was Simbisa Brands. Simbisa Brands, these are the owners of your fast food restaurants or quick service, in fact not quick services restaurants, your chicken inns of this world. And it was up by 2.84% yesterday. And then it's former parent company, Insco, up by 1.88%. So for those not in the know, Simbisa Brands, which owns Chicken Inn, is not a subsidiary or is not part of Insco. Insco is a separate company. Yes, Simbisa used to be a subsidiary of Insco back in the day, but it was demerged and it is now separate. It's now running as a separate company, separately listed on the Victoria Falls Stock Exchange, and it's not a subsidiary of Insco. I thought I could just clarify there, because I hear a lot of people when something happens at Simbisa, people are quickly saying Insco has Odai, but they are now two different companies, but they do share certain common shareholders, like their major shareholders. You find maybe it's the same. The major shareholders in Insco are the same. The shareholders in Simbisa. But when it comes to corporate, those who have done corporate law and governance, they are two separate companies that can be sued in their own different capacity.
Okay, there's a question here, Kudzi, that says, what's the difference between quick services and fast food restaurants?
Maybe there's no difference. Fast and
maybe
quick.
Just different.
Yeah, fast and quick. So there are restaurants. I don't know. They must sit down
take
restaurants. Take away, and then you've got a party.
It's like a nightclub in a bottle store.
Yes. So, but so for Simbisa, the way they describe themselves, they say it's a quick services restaurant. Yes, here and there you can get people sitting down and eating, but vasiyana kuti unosvika kuti ndoda order ndoda opiwa menu anditi obata ndoda chakati choenda kutonobikwa anditi chozoya maybe after 10 or even more minutes, and then these ones sometimes the food is readily cooked unless
like my drive through
it's readily cooked, so it becomes a quick service restaurant.
Another question says, where is the ZIG liquidity causing the bull run coming from? If the entire market is undervalued, as some analysts say, isn't the bull run driven by excess liquidity? This is concerning, especially when the VFX is flat.
Yeah, it's something that I still need to really have a look at. But for now, I wouldn't say it's because of excess liquidity. Because like if you see the amount of money that changed hands yesterday, the biggest amount went into CBZ, about 800,000 ZIG. That's not a lot of money when you consider that you've got pension funds, that are insurance houses, and other that are investing in the stock market. So I wouldn't say there's too much money that is going into the market at the moment. If you ask the ZSC, they'll tell you, at least because back in the day, you trade on a given day, you trade even if it was trading in the local currency, but if you convert it into US, it would be like 2 million, 3 million per day. But now we're trading less than in US dollar terms, probably $1 million in US dollar terms. So I wouldn't say there is too much money that is out there. But it's something that I haven't really looked at to see what's really happening. I need to talk to stockbrokers to find out what's really pushing the market at the moment.
6 minutes before 8 is our time. It is Business Focus. Kudzi, I don't know if you have come across the trading update from Dairyboard Zimbabwe.
Yeah. Yesterday they actually had their annual general meeting, and at annual general meetings they also give a trading update for that particular quarter, like in 3 months, how they've performed in 3 months. And everybody telling us that their volumes went up by 2% year on year. That's on average, up by 2%. But then when you look at they've got different divisions. So they've got what they call liquid milks. Though my products, I'm sure you know their milk products. Volumes went up by 21%. I'm not sure whether it's because it's partly part of the winter period and people are drinking a lot of tea, but and which obviously consumes milk. But they are saying that increased milk supply also helped them, especially for their brands that they have, and so all their milk products experienced a market growth in terms of market share compared to the prior year. And then their foods, they also do foods. We are now talking about their yogurts, their creams, their peanut butter and Roma foods. They are saying volumes went up by 25%, which again was really good. 25% growth in volumes. It was really good for them. Whether they are recording good margins, that is another story altogether. But volumes for their yogurts, their peanut butter, and their ice creams actually went up by 25%. And then they have what their beverages division now, where you're talking about their teas and then their fukos, their maheu products. This is where they're saying volumes for these products went down by 8%. They went down by 8%, which I think is they are attributing this drop in volumes for their beverages to price adjustments that were related to VAT. Remember, they were removed from, I think, from zero rated in terms of VAT. They now they've been removed there, and it resulted in price increases. They're also talking about the continued challenges in getting coins for change. So they wanted to have their products sell at, for example, their Mayo products, they wanted to sell at 60 cents given the increase in costs of production. They wanted to sell at 60 cents. But if you sell at 60 cents, it means that somebody who comes with $1, you now need to give them change.
Mm-hmm. And there are difficulties with the change.
Difficulties with the change now, and it affected because $1 and you say it's 60 cents. Ndokuti change hauna foot ndakutosia, so it affected their volumes. Remember, most of their Mayo products are sold by street vendors, those street vendors. So if those street vendors don't have change, then it becomes a problem. But I think as a company, they could actually take the initiative to go to the central bank, get those coins, and give it to their vendors so that they'll be able to give change. I think that would help. I think as a company, they have to take the initiative. If they wait for us customers to bring the coins, it might not happen. So I think as a company, they could actually take that initiative and go and get those coins so that and trading can actually happen, and they get the right margin that they want. Because I think at some point they had to say, okay, let's just sell $1 for $2. And yet you know that if you sell $1 for $2, you won't get the margins that you would want. So I think that's maybe next week we'll try and get Mes Ndoro to also next week Wednesday. And next week on Wednesday. Next week Wednesday. Wombo pin tower and my customers as well as the investors.
That'll be a great initiative. 2 minutes to go, Kudzi. Let's quickly look at time is moving. We look at the SADC Industrialization Week. What's the latest and update?
Yeah, so it seems like I remember when we started talking about it, they were targeting to get about 300 delegates and guests at their conference. But as of when the 9th of July, they had registered 320 people had registered. There's actually a portal on a portal where people can go and register, and so far 320 people have registered. 62 of them are delegates, 103 of them are guests, and then we also have foreign exhibitors, 64 exhibitors, of which 10 are foreign exhibitors. So I think there's overwhelming response from the SADC region.
When is it happening?
Between the 28th of July and the 2nd of August.
Okay.
This is when the SADC Industrialization Week is taking place. And I think it's like we have said it before. There's going to be investor promotion agencies like ZIDA. In Zimbabwe, we've got ZIDA as an investment promotion agency. Then they've also invited investment promotion agencies from other countries. So if you've got your project that you're doing, a manufacturing project that is, and you're looking at funding, I think this is a place for you to be. You might be lucky and get. And also, even for those who are not into Notinasha, if you have got your project, you're often got any project, but into my investors, you can actually take your project to ZIDA. ZIDA can, when they go to across the country, they can go and market your project, and you'll be able to, if it's good, you can actually get investors to invest in your project.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Kudzi. We discuss more tomorrow on Business Focus. Have us have a great Thursday. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Tina.